When one thinks of mummies, they usually picture Egyptian mummies. Although Egypt is well known for their When one thinks of mummies, they usually picture Egyptian mummies. Although Egypt is well known for their contribution of mummies from various ages during their ancient times, there have been many interesting mummies found throughout the world dating back to an array of times back in history. One particularly interesting mummy is Otzi. When one thinks of mummies, they usually picture Egyptian mummies. Although Egypt is well known for their contribution of mummies from various ages during their ancient times, there have been many interesting mummies found throughout the world, dating back to an array of times back in history. One particularly interesting mummy is Otzi. Otzi is a mummy hailing from the Copper Age, living and dying more than 5,300 years ago. This makes him older than the Egyptian pyramids and the Stonehenge, according to the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology website. You might be imagining a corpse wrapped up in linen wraps, placed in an ornate box. This isn't the case for Otzi. According to the Smithsonian Magazine, on his way across an icy mountain range, Otzi was shot and killed by an arrow, causing him to bleed out. Otzi perished in the snow and ice. This just so happened to be the best place to perish for one's body to be preserved naturally. This made Otzi into what we know as today a wet mummy, preserved by natural elements. He wasn't intentionally mummified, rather his circumstances made him into one. When first found by a group of German hikers in 1991, his corpse in the European mountain range appeared to be a fresher body of an unfortunate person. You see, what remained of Otzi was all his skin, his toes and fingers, and even his ears. Otzi was just shriveled up and brown to the eye. I am sure these German hikers had a fright, but little did they know at the time they had just found an almost perfectly preserved man that was alive and walking thousands of years ago. A find that would have archaeologists and history buffs alike bursting with excitement. They could learn a lot from Otzi, the Copper Age, and more about naturally preserved mummies. A mummy is a great insight to the past, the age they came from, and where they came from. A study published by Cell Genomics reveals that Otzi had dark eyes and hair, as well as a darker skin tone than what would be seen in modern-day Italy or Greece. It has also been said that Otzi had lighter skin, like those living in the parts of the Alps today where Otzi was discovered. One thing can be said with confidence, though. Otzi was bald. A middle-aged man himself, something a lot of middle-aged men today can relate to. According to the same study, Otzi's DNA shared a large portion to the Anatolian archaeologist, or agriculturist. This group of people are known to be responsible for being the first to introduce agriculture to Europe. So Otzi was more than likely an isolated farmer. Another popular theory is that he was a hunter-gatherer. This will explain his solo trip across the snowy Alps, where he met his demise from an ops arrow. Researchers are still not quite sure how or why this arrow found its way into Otzi's back. Too bad we cannot scan brain matter for memories. I am sure Otzi would have a lot to say.